Hello everyone, so today we'll be talking about can you learn English through translation. Now this is the question that has popped up for many and they're confused about this question as to how this question has come out and how this has become a kind of controversy for many. It's a kind of controversy and it's a bit controversial because many linguists they have to believe that translation is really not a good way to learn any particular language. But as the data shows that many students they have followed the way of translation and they have learned many different languages. It's not just about English, it's about many other languages such as Spanish, German, French, Arabic and many other foreign languages. So saying that translation cannot help a person to learn a language, especially when it happens to be a second, third or fourth language as a foreign language, I think it's completely unjustifiable. So it is important for all of us to understand the concepts, and I'll give you my analysis in this particular video, and you'll all be getting as to why translation is one of the ways through which you can definitely learn English. And it's not just about English, you can learn any other foreign language. Okay, now I'll start with the benefits of translation. When it comes to understanding the vocab of other languages, you start understanding their vocab and you start comparing the vocab of other languages with your own language. And that's how the translation comes into place, and that's how the role of translation comes into play. So when it comes to comparing the words, you compare the words with translation. Now the role of translation has been such in today's era that nobody can deny it. Even today translation is used in verbal way as well as written way to do many different activities and many different things. So you cannot and nobody can deny the fact that translation has its own value and importance in this particular world. But when it comes to learning a language, so that's where the debate comes. So I feel since many students have used this thing or this way as a way of learning a language, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As many trainers and teachers, they get lambasted just because they follow the way of translation to teach and train their students. There's nothing wrong with that. People should learn. After all, the thing which is going to come out is learning. If students are getting the result and they're learning the things, so there is nothing wrong to follow the way of translation and train the students. In the same way, it is seen very generally that whenever you go to any university, college or any educational institution for the sake of argument, you just see that in majority of educational institutions, it is only the translation which is used as a way to teach and train the students to learn any foreign language. So this shows the translation is definitely a good way and it is a practical way to learn any new language. Okay, so here we can say there can be some disadvantages. For example, many students they become habitual of translating literally. They start translating anything literally, and that's where the mistakes come out. So translation is a good thing, but it is also important for students to understand that everything cannot be translated literally. Many students they start depending on machine translation, which is not a good thing. Machine translation most of the time makes this mistake and most of the time tries to translate the content literally. So human beings they have got they've got thought process, they can understand, they can feel, they may take out the meaning. So meaningful translation is the way to learn and grow and to understand any concept. So meaningful translation is the translation that is always considered to be good. So this is where everyone needs to be careful. So becoming careful, extra careful through the way of translation to learn any language is a good way to follow for anybody. Okay, so here we should also understand who should follow the way of translation and who shouldn't. Those people who are surrounded by the environment of the foreign language. For example, many students, since they are learning the language, so they have the environment at home, they have the environment in neighborhood, they have the environment among their relatives. Now I don't think they need any translation to learn the language, since they become fluent and more confident by talking and practicing every day. But majority of people, they do not have this environment, they do not have this facility to talk to their friends, to talk to their relatives, to talk to their neighbors in the English language. So because of this, they follow the way of translation. and they start translating the words, they start memorizing the words, they start using those words like in their own sentences to learn them. Since they do not get the chance or opportunity to practice their English, so they have the way of translation, which helps them a lot. So those who do not get the environment, which happens to most of the people, to majority of the people, so they use the way of translation. So for such people, I think translation is a very good way which they can use to learn any language. But those who have the environment, those who are surrounded by the environment, they can speak the language naturally, and they have the people around them to correct them whenever they make mistakes. They don't have to follow the way of translation. So these things need to be kept in mind. Now, linguists, since they have their own deep studies, may have difference of opinion, but many linguists, in one hand, they have this belief that translation is a good way to learn any language. In the same way, many linguists also believe like translation is not a good, since they have the difference of opinion, so we cannot just base our argument on their opinions. Opinions differ, but it doesn't mean that we start saying that one thing is a good way or another thing is a bad way. So what we have to say, that something which benefits somebody is good. If something doesn't benefit somebody, that's not good. As I told, if people are surrounded by the environment, for them translation is not required. But those people who are not surrounded by the environment, they do not have anyone to speak to, they do not have anyone to talk to, they are not in the society where people speak English, so they can use the way of translation to improve their language. So for them, it's just going to be a good thing for them to do. It's going to be advantageous for them. So I must tell all those people, that those who think that translation is not a good way, I say, if it can help you to improve your language, it is a way which you should follow. And you should not listen to any people's opinions, and they may have difference of opinions, and you should respect their opinions. But in the same breath, you should also stick to your own way, since that way is going to be very much helpful for you. So I hope you have liked this analysis of mine. I wanted to give a few points of mine I have given in this particular video, because many students, they are in this confusion that whether we should use the way of translation or not. So of course you can use the way of translation not only to learn English, but to learn any other language, and this is definitely going to be a fruitful thing for you, because it's helping you continuously. So these are the things which I wanted to make clear for all of you. I hope many things you have got the clarifications on, and you have understood most of the parts of what I really wanted to convey to every one of you. So hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.